Hi all. This video will be about the firms in the competitive markets. So it is an this video is an asynchronous tutorial classes from my class in introductory microeconomics. I am Lutfiana Rahma, the teaching assistant from Bu Femi Ruslan. And then let's just get into the materials. We will talk about the firms in the competitive markets. So why we talk about the perfect competition first and then the other market later? It is because first, the firms in the competitive market do not have a power to influence the market. So it is relatively simple if we compare to another market. And then the second, the perfect competition are allocated the resources efficiently. And again, if it is compared with another that doesn't allocate the resource efficiently. So here I would like to highlight or underline some important words that you need to remember. First, here the firms do not have power to influence the market, or later we will talk about it as a price taker. And then second, it allocated the resources efficiently. Yeah, so it is the most efficient market structure. Okay, and then the third, by analyzing the perfect competition, we will know uh, how come we could get the market supply or where the market supply comes from. So again, for these materials, you need to differentiate between firms and market because it is two separate things. Yeah, market consists a lot of firms, and then firms is firms gitu ya. Jadi please do differentiate the firm and the market because both firm and market they have different curves. Yeah, so you still remember that letter. Okay, so next move to the characteristic of the perfectly competition markets. The first is there are so many sellers and buyers. The I should underline this word because in this kind of market, in the perfectly competition market, in the perfectly competitive markets, there are so many sellers if it is compared to another market. Okay, it is the number of sellers is bigger than any other market. And then the second, the product is homogeneous. Homogeneous goods means that all sellers sells literally the same product. Yeah, the same, it can be in the form of the same color, the same function, the same what's that? The same taste, the same size, yeah. All is the same. So the product can be said it is a homogeneous goods. Yeah, so seller A sold the same, literally same goods as seller B. Seller B literally sells the same good as seller C, and so on. All many sellers sell homogeneous products or homogeneous goods. And then the second, the sellers are price taker. Why the sellers are price taker? This is because, okay, I will number it as 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the characteristic number 3, it is because of the characteristic number 1 and number 2. Why the sellers are price taker? It is because there are so many sellers and they sell literally the same goods. So they have no power to sell at the price that they want. They must follow the price that the market born, gitu ya. Okay, because there are so many sellers and the product are literally the same, so they cannot sell with the price they want. They should sell the price like the market price. Okay, and the characteristic number 4, yeah, yeah, we talk about the market price. The market price is shaped by the market mechanism. So let me draw the simulation for the characteristic number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so at first we have the market, yeah, the perfectly competitive markets. Here is the market curve. So if we talk about the market, we have supply and also we have demand. Okay, so here we have the equilibrium, right? This is the equilibrium. It is the price and it is the quantity. Okay, so here we have the price in the equilibrium and the quantity in the equilibrium. Remember that this curve happens in the market. And also remember that the sellers are price taker. So the sellers take whatever the market price. Yeah. So here the market price is PE. Yeah. In PE here. So the seller will take the PE as its price. Yeah. So here we have the firm's curve. And then the firm's curve would be your price, your quantity. The firms will take the market price that is shaped in the market. So here we have PE, right? So wait, sorry. So here is the market demand, yeah. This is the price curve, the price of the firms, and then this is also the curve for the demand for the average revenue and for the marginal revenue. And don't forget also, this is the curve for the price. Yeah, so firms in perfectly competitive markets, the firms will have a horizontal firms demand curve. Okay, that is the firms in the perfectly competitive markets. Okay, and then the characteristic number 5, there is no barrier to entry and exit. So both all people outside the markets, they can enter the market anytime without any barrier. So they can easily get into the market and join to sell the goods. And then for the firms inside the market, they can go outside to another market or maybe to stop the production because there is no barrier to exit. So entry and exit is the strategy for the long run. Yeah. So in the long run, the firm can choose to entry or to exit from a perfectly competitive markets. Okay, and then number 6, we already learned about that. Yeah, the firm's demand curve is shown by a horizontal line here, meaning that it is perfectly elastic. Okay, and then in the characteristic number 7, in the long run, firms only get a normal profit, or a normal profit meaning that it is a zero economic profit. Okay. All right. We could move to here. Okay, if we talk about a condition in a firm in a perfectly competitive markets, yeah, or we could say that they are competitive firm, we should find the key at which P equal MC, or you can make it easier because you can use also what I'm going to say in another market. You should find at whatever the market are, you could find the Q at which the MR equal to the MC. Yeah. Okay, this is can be applied to another market. Okay, meanwhile, P equal MC, you could only apply it only for the perfect competition market atau perfectly competitive markets. Okay, that is for the rules, yeah. And then, okay, let's find the Q at which MR equal to MC, and then if the price shape is below the average variable cost, then the firm should shut down immediately and remain out of business. Okay, later I will explain to you about what shutdown is. Yeah, and then here, if the price is between AVC and ATC, the firm should operate in the short run, but it should exit in the long run. And then if the price below the average total cost, the competitive firms should stay in the business. Yeah, if the price is above, if the price is above the average cost, of course, the firm should stay in the business and enjoy the profits. Okay, so okay. Now, later I will prepare about the slide in the short run. Okay, I will prepare it. So here is I have already prepared the long run equilibrium, long run condition in the perfectly competitive market. In bahasa, perfectly competitive market is called pasar persaingan sempurna, or perfectly competitive markets in English. So in the short run, I'm sorry, there is still my okay. So in the short run, the firms could experience three conditions. The condition is called the supernormal profit, supernormal profit, normal profit. Here is normal profit, or it can be said also the zero economic profit. Zero economic profit. And then the third, rugi is loss. Okay, so here is I will talk to you about the first condition, the supernormal profit. The supernormal profit happens when the firms experience a positive economic profit. So if you see how can the firm has a positive economic profit, it is because it has an AC, an average cost that is low. So if you compare to another two conditions, the difference is only the average cost. The average cost is increasing here. It leads to loss. If we talk about the first condition first, here I will zoom in. It is the supernormal profit. Remember that the firms will always produce at MR equal to MC. Remember, the producer will always produce at its maximizing condition, its maximizing profit condition. And the maximizing profit condition would be in the point where the marginal revenue equal to the marginal cost, or MR equal MC. So the firms will always produce at that point if the firms wants to maximize the profit. It is the profit maximizing condition. I will write it down. Profit maximizing. So we have known that the firm should produce at marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. It would be at this point, because at this point, the marginal revenue equal to the marginal cost. So it is basically the intersection between the marginal revenue and the marginal cost. So we will produce at that point. We will find at this point how much is the quantity. This is the quantity. This is the number of the quantity. And then after we produce at the quantity as much as Q, the quantity Q, we should find another condition in that firm. Okay, it is already chosen that we have to produce at Q. Then at Q, what is another condition in the firm? The condition in the firm, if the firm is producing at Q, if we move to upward, we will find that at Q, the average cost of that firms will be at this point. So this point is the average curve of the average cost of the firm. So this is the firm's average cost. Okay. And then is there another point? Yeah. If we move upward again, we will find that at Q we have, what is this, the MC curve. So this is also the MC, and then this is the MC curve, and then at this point there is also average revenue and marginal revenue. So this is we can say that it is average revenue and also marginal revenue. All right, so that is at the positive economic profit. Okay, that is the curve. And then always remember about the marginal revenue curve. Do you remember that chapter? Do you remember the chapter of the cost and the revenue and also the profit? We have already studied that for profit. We already know that before profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Okay, so profit is upward. What is total revenue? Total revenue is price times quantity. How much is the price times how much the quantity you sold, and you will get the total revenue you get from selling the goods minus the total cost. Total cost, do you remember this kind of formula? Average cost meaning total cost per Q. So from this formula, if you would like to find the total cost, it is simply average cost times Q, right? So here I will write it down as HC, average cost times Q. And then it means that profit equals to, I differentiate the key, so we will have P minus AC, average cost, times Q. So it is a commutative characteristics from an equation. Okay, so here is our profit. Don't you see there that P minus I average cost, price minus average cost here? It is the distance, right? Or the gap between price and average cost. So in the curve, we can see that the distance is here, right? Right, okay. So if it is a rectangle, then the gap between P and AC, it is the width of the rectangle. Okay. Meanwhile, key, you will see key as the length of the rectangle. Okay. Here is your key, right? So here, if I draw it with the same color, this is the key. So here we have a rectangle with it is the length and it is the width. So here is the full rectangle, right? So this rectangle shows the area of supernormal profit. Okay. So that is the first condition that could be experienced by the firms in the perfectly competitive markets. Right? it could get a positive economic profit. Meanwhile, the firm could also experience a zero economic profit where the average cost intersect the price cost. Yeah, here the average cost intersect with the price cost. Okay, or with the demand curves. All right, and then you have also to you have to remember also that the firm should uh, produce at again MR equal to MC, right? MR equal to MC. So where is that point? That point is here. This is the MR curve. Yeah, this is the MR curve, right? And then this is the MC curve. So it is obvious that the firms will produce at this point. So at this point, it means that the firm should produce at key. At key, is there another curve? Yes. We move upward and then we see that, wow, there are so many curves there. This is the price curve and also this is the demand curve, the average revenue, and then the marginal revenue. Yeah. And then what's next? The average cost. Then what's next? It is the MC also, yeah, the marginal cost. So there is so many conditions in that one point. And always remember that profit is equal to from the previous condition. Let's take it for simple, yeah. Profit is equal to price minus average cost time Q. So here the price minus average cost, because the price is the same like the average cost, we will get that this will be resulted in zero. 0 times Q, it means that the profit is zero, or it means that we have zero economic profit, like what is stated here. Zero economic profit. Or it can be said also that it has a normal profit. So the characteristic if the firms has a normal profit condition is the average cost will intersect or tangent to the price curves. All right. And then next, the third condition or the last condition that could be experienced by the firms in the short run is loss. If the firms experience a loss, then it will have an average cost curve that is far in the upside position. Remember, always remember that the firms will produce at, again, MR equal MC, because this is the profit maximizing condition. Yeah, always remember that. Yeah, MR equal MC. So where is the point? This is MR and this is MC, right? So the point is here. So yeah, the firms will produce at Q here. So if the firm is producing at Q, is there another position? Is there another condition of the firms? Yes, of course. Let's move upward. And then we will have, here is the price, here is also the average revenue, here is also the marginal revenue, yeah. And here's also the curve, marginal cost curves, yeah. So here is also the marginal cost. Is there another curves upward, upside? Yes, let's move forward, yeah. Oh, we meet with the average cost curve. So here is the average cost of the firm, right? Average cost of the firm. Okay. Okay. All right. And then always remember that profit, yeah, wait, profit wait. Remember from the previous, profit is P minus AC times Q. Okay, so this is P equals to, this is the gaps, yeah, from P to AC. So where is the gap? The gap is here, right? The gap between price and average cost here. Okay, so that is the width for the rectangle, and then after that, for the length is the Q. Q is here. So we have another rectangle. All right. It is quite like a square maybe, but it is obviously still a rectangle. Also, you could see there that the price is below the average cost. What does it mean? Yeah, it means that the average cost here is bigger than the price. So it means that P minus AC, minus average cost, will have a negative number. So negative minus key will always be positive, right? So the profit will positive times negative, the profit will be negative. Or we call it as, here's the loss, right? This is the loss. So we have done, yeah, learning about the three conditions possible to be experienced by the firms in the perfectly competitive markets. So I hope that you could understand it, not to remember it, because yeah, it is so many concepts here that is basically linkage your understanding. So yeah, you should understand instead of remembering it, because these three condition has a lot of details and it would be a lot harder if you try to remember that. Okay, so try to always understand. Okay. Okay, so that is the profit and loss in the short run. Okay, so in the short run also, the firms have to decide whether to shut down or not to shut down. So I will explain to you about the shutdown first. Shutdown refers to a short run decision in which, in the decision, the producer choose not to produce anything during a specific period of time because of the current market conditions. Okay, so please differentiate the shutdown and exit. If the shutdown is a short run decision, then exit is a long run decision. A long run decision to leave the market. So exit means the sellers to leave the market and are not willing to go back. They literally go away in the market. For example, they already had the plants here, yeah, so they will close the plants if they choose to exit. But if they chose to shut down, if they have so many plants, then the plants they will not sell the plants. Yeah, the plants is still there, but the plants is not producing. Okay. Okay, so why the short run and the long run decision differs? The short run and the long run decisions differs because most firms cannot avoid their fixed costs in the short run, but they can avoid, they can to do so in the long run. Okay, so here is the short run decision. They have to shut down if the total revenue is below the variable cost, right? And then, or they can also shut down if it means that if we divide both sides with Q, so we will get this one. Okay, they should shut down if the total revenue per Q is below than the variable cost minus per Q. Sorry, so they should shut down. Yeah, TR per Q is equal to the price, and variable cost per Q equals to the average variable cost. So they should shut down if the price is below the average variable cost. Meanwhile, in the long run condition, they should exit if the TR below the total cost, yeah, so the total revenue is smaller than the total cost, or if we give both sides per Q, then we will get it. And so the firm should exit if the price is below the average cost. Okay, so we move further to the short run decision, which is it is the shutdown position or the shutdown condition. Here, the firms will keep producing if the price is between average cost, average variable cost, and average total cost. So here, yeah, if the price is between that, yeah, between this point, between this, the firm will keep producing, even though if the price, yeah, so the price is always equal to MC. Remember that it is a perfectly competitive markets. So remember that it is a perfectly competitive market, yeah. So the price will always equal to marginal cost, yeah, because of this condition, yeah, the equilibrium, yeah. Here is the price, right? Here is the Q is always equals to MC, right? Here is equal to MC and here is also equals to MC, right? So the price will always equal to marginal cost in the perfectly competitive firms. So here is a point of price, right? The firms, although the price is between the average cost and the average variable cost, they will keep producing. Also, maybe producing at this point, yeah, if the price is between average total cost and average variable cost, they will suffer a loss. Why? Because loss is where the position price is below the average cost. It is a loss, right? Yeah, so it is a loss. So no matter how much is the loss, the firm will always will always keep producing in these circumstances. But what happens if they are producing at the shutdown point? So yeah, remember this kind of short run decision. If the price is below average variable cost, the firms will shut down. So here, basically, you will know that if the price is below the average variable cost, so this is the average variable cost, if it is go down below, then the firm should shut down. They should temporarily stop the production in the short run. If the price is between this position, the firm should continue to produce. Meanwhile, if the price is below the average variable cost, they should shut down atau stop, pause the production. But what if the producer or the firms producing at this point at P equal to average variable cost? So this point, yeah, is called the shutdown point. Ya, should the producer, haruskah produsennya berhenti sementara atau tetap lanjut? They are both indifferent to do those two kinds of those two kinds of decision, ya. So there is two decision, to pause or to continue, ya. And they are indifferent to choose both action. Okay, first, if pause, yeah, if the firm choose to pause or to shut down, yeah, the pause is called the shutdown. Okay, profit is total revenue minus total cost, yeah. So to evaluate what decision should be made, the firm should evaluate the profit, yeah. So we will evaluate the profit in the shutdown condition or the profit if the producer want to continue the production. Okay, so if the producer choose to shut down the production, then the total revenue will become zero. Okay, because apa? Because they don't produce, so they don't sell. So they don't have the revenue. Okay, so the total revenue will be 0. And then about the total cost consists of fixed cost plus variable cost. So 0 minus, yeah, fixed cost, yeah, there is always fixed cost when you start the production, but there is no variable cost because, yeah, they don't produce anything. Yeah, variable cost is average variable cost time Q. Yeah, they don't produce anything, so the Q will be 0. So yeah, the variable cost will be 0. So the profit would be minus FC, right? That is for the shutdown. Yeah, if they choose to shut down. And then if they choose to continue the production, let's start. The total revenue would be, yeah, price time Q minus AC times Q. Or okay, let's draw this but by FTC total cost aja ya, total cost. Okay, remember that at the shutdown point, the price is equal to average variable cost. So here the price, yeah, is average variable cost, right? Average variable cost time Q minus TC. Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost, right? So the profit would be, do you remember average variable cost is variable cost per key? So AVC times Q would be the variable cost itself. Yeah. So this is the variable cost minus fixed cost minus variable cost, right? We coret nih. Yeah. So the profit would be minus fixed cost. So it turns out that the profit is the same, whether the producer would like to shut down or would like to continue the production. Okay, the profit would be the same, would be equal, would be minus fixed cost. Or we could say that at both decision, the firms will experience a loss of as much as their fixed cost. So the two conditions are literally the same. So we could say that the firms is indifferent between shutdown and continue the production. They are confused which condition they should decide, they should choose. So that's why this point, yeah, this point is called the shutdown point. Because at that position, the firms could start to shut down, could start. But at that point, they could also still continue the production, but they could start to shut down. So the name is the shutdown point. Okay, so related to the explanation, it means that there will be no production here. There will be no production starting from here. Starting from this point, yeah, to another price, there will be no production. No production. Below the average cost, yeah. If the price below the average cost, remember that the firm is shut down, so the quantity will be 0 and there is no production. So where is the production? The production lies at this point. Yeah, at price above the average cost. So we could also say that this curve, this black curve, the MC curve starting from the lowest point of the average cost, this is the lowest point of the average cost, right? It is the supply curve. So the marginal curve starting from the lowest point of the average variable cost, it is the firm's supply curve. Okay. So that is the explanation. Next, we move to the long run decision for a firm. Yeah, we already know that here in the long run, the firm has a decision whether to entry or to exit. Ya, ingat in the long run. Yeah, remember that in the long run there is two options, to exit or to entry. So if we talk about the long run decision whether to exit or to entry, you should understand the characteristic of the firms in the perfect competition market and the perfectly competitive markets. Always remember that there is a characteristic that the firms are freely entry and exit the markets. And also remember, at the first condition, we assume that the firm has a supernormal profit. Okay, now we assume that the firm has a supernormal profit. So, yeah, if the firm at first has a supernormal profit, by remembering that the firms are free to entry and exit, if you see that, okay, there is a market, a perfectly competitive market at which the producer inside that market is experiencing a supernormal profit, then if you are a person outside the market, you will see the market as an interesting market. Yeah, you will get into the market no long after that, ya kan? So the supernormal profit condition attracts new firms to enter the markets. So if our what is that? If our condition, if our equilibrium first is at P1, yeah, this is the supply equilibrium at first, yeah. Here is the first equilibrium here. So the price is at P1. Yeah, the average cost is below because it is a profit condition. At a supernormal profit condition, yeah, at a supernormal profit condition, it will attract new firms to enter the market. So the supply, remember that if there are so many new firms entering the market, the supply will move to the right position, yeah, to the right position, down right, yeah. They will shift to the right, and then they will result in a new equilibrium position. Here is the new equilibrium position. Here is the first equilibrium, and here's the second. The second, the second, the second condition will result in price two and Q2 here. So remembering that always, yeah, a firms in the perfectly competitive market is a price taker, that so that the firms will take the price to as their price. So it will result that their price curve will tangent to their average cost. Okay, their price will be tangent to the average cost. It will result in the firm's demand shift downward. Yeah, the price will shift downward because it is a price taker, and no long after that the firms will experience a normal profit. So this is the simulation for the long run if the firms at first experienced a not supernormal profit. What if at first the firms experiencing a loss? So remembering that there is always a free entry and also free to exit. So if it is a loss condition, that the firms inside the market will exit the market. They will leave the market and will never go back. So if there are so many firms exiting the market, the first equilibrium condition, if the price is here, average cost is upside, yeah, in the upside because it is a loss condition. At the market, it will shift the supply to the left, yeah. So we have new equilibrium here, the Q2 and the price 2. Remembering also the firms is a price taker, so they will take the price as its price, the price in the market as its price. So we will have a new
demand curve, average revenue curve, and also marginal revenue curve here. So we will see that the demand curve or the price curve is already tangent to the average cost ya. The firm's demand moves upward, geser ke atas sampai dia mencapai until he reaches the AC or until the price is tangent to the average cost. It means that the firms will experience a normal profit. So in the long run, whether at first the firm experiencing a supernormal profit or a loss, in the end, yeah, they will always experience a normal profit. Yeah, in the end, they will always experience a normal profit. At first, super normal profit. In the end, in the long run, it will experience a normal profit. If at first it experiences a loss, in the long run, they will always experiencing normal profit. So what could we get from this explanation? What could we get from this explanation is the firms in the perfectly competitive markets will always have a normal profit. Yeah, will always at this kind of position. Okay, that is for the long run equilibrium. Okay, so next, after talking about the long run equilibrium, I will talk about the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. Basically, it jumps back to our materials in the supply and demand. Yeah, here is you can read competitive market is efficient. Yeah, so the market that we talked before, talk in this video, the competitive market is the most efficient market because it maximizes the value of the consumer surplus plus the producer surplus. Yeah, why surplus is so important? Because surplus in the market, it could be both consumer surplus and producer surplus, is the representation of welfare. So it means that the highest surplus that the market has, the higher will be the welfare of the market. Yeah. So here is the competitive market. Here is the equilibrium, and yeah, it maximizes the surplus. Later, we will study that the government intervention will alter this surplus. What does it mean? It means that if there is any government intervention, the surplus will be disrupted. It could be decreasing, but it could also be increasing. But in summary, they are disrupted. Yeah, the area of surplus, if there is government intervention, the area will be disrupted. Okay, so I think we will discuss about that in the later video, but I think that's all for this video. You can replay it in your own, and then you could practicing by doing some exercises from the previous final test. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you. Good luck.